Welcome to my show, 5 Minute Flashpoints with Tio Uncle VR. Today's video will cover the New York Jets schedule and what I feel is the toughest games on that schedule. And without further ado, I will go over each of those teams. So the first one I'd like to mention is a honorable mention, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars started the season 8-3 before Trevor Lawrence got injured. They were leading the AFC South division and faltered late due to some injuries. Specifically, Trevor Lawrence got injured. And there were also some key injuries down the stretch, which affected the team. Now, my feeling is that Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson will have a plan coming into the 2024 season. They did draft Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round and as a wide receiver, and I think that will help. Of course, they have arguably the top five running back in the league in space, which is Travis Etienne. And on defense, their defensive edge tandem of Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker is probably the best in the league. And a defensive line led by Eric Armstead will be a formidable defensive opponent. And now on to my list. The number 5 team on my list is none other than the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams were a surprise playoff team, and they have great coaching with Sean McVay and a good mix of veteran and young players. You can never count out the Rams with soon-to-be Hall of Famer when he retires, Matt Stafford. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are the wide receiver 1 and 2. But the weapon that scares me the most is their running back, Kyren Williams. He was a stud last year, and I think that he's just going to continue to be a stud moving forward. Now, the Rams on defense could never replace an all-time Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, who retired last year. But they did their best to restock in the draft. In the 2024 draft, they drafted in the first round defensive end Jared Verse. They also drafted defensive tackle Braden Fisk, who in the combine just crushed it in many of the drills and in all the measurables. He is a name to watch on that defense. Moving on to the number 4 team I have on my list, and that team is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans revamped their team with a new coach in D'Amico Ryans, a new quarterback in the draft in C.J. Stroud, and a new defensive end in Will Anderson Jr. Now, what will the Texans do for an encore in 2024? Well, they traded for Stephon Diggs, and with Nico Collins and Tank Dell coming back, they also signed Joe Mixon at running back, as well as having Dalton Schultz coming back at tight end. The offense should be full steam ahead, and they may cause us some issues on defense. Speaking of the defense, they have rookie defensive end Will Anderson Jr., who made the Pro Bowl in his rookie season with 7 sacks, coming strong late in the year in 2023. D'Amico Ryans runs the same defenses as our coaching staff and was on the same staff in San Francisco with head coach Robert Saleh. Moving on to the number 3 team on my list, and that would be the Miami Dolphins at the away game on December 8th. Now, the Miami Dolphins have a high-powered offense run by Mike McDaniels, and the offense has stayed intact with speedsters like Terrell Hill, the Cheetah, Raheem Mostert, and Devon Achane. Now, each of these players have been clocked in the top 10 of the fastest in-game maximum speeds last year in 2023 at over 21 miles per hour. Now, the Dolphins still have one of the best defensive back rooms in the NFL with Jalen Ramsey and new free agent Kendall Fuller, as well as safety Jordan Poyer. They still have a formidable pass rush with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips coming off the edges, which will make for an interesting and tough matchup for the Jets. Moving on to my number 2 hardest team on the schedule, and that is none other than the Buffalo Bills. Now, I heard a long time ago that no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And so for number 2, I have them circled on the calendar as the second toughest in our schedule. They were the AFC East champion last year, and the weather elements are also going to be a factor going to Buffalo late December for December 29th. If we want to be the best, we have to dethrone the best in the AFC East. And I have a feeling a lot will be riding on this game, so there's going to be added pressure. Now, Josh Allen, still one of the best and top QBs in this league, there's no question. How he adjusts to losing Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis will be determined by this point late in the season. So that will basically go to the effect of newly drafted Keon Coleman and the utilization of the tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, who had a great season last year, and Dawson Knox, who is legitimately one of the Josh Allen end zone targets. Furthermore, James Cook has established himself as one of the elite running backs in this league, rushing for over 11,000 yards in a league role for the team. I guess that runs in the family, right, Dalvin? Last but not least, the number 1 team on my list is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the San Francisco 49ers finished with scoring 491 points last year in 2023. That was the third most in the league and the second most points for their franchise in franchise history. They made it all the way to the Super Bowl and lost 25-22 to the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they will be bringing the whole complement of offensive players such as CMC, Christian McCaffrey, the Offensive Player of the Year, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. And of course, George Kittle will be returning with Brock Purdy with a full season under his belt as the quarterback and a wealth of experience, who ran the gauntlet through the 2023 playoffs and eventually to the Super Bowl. Now, game ones are tough on the road, but when they're against the NFC champion San Francisco 49ers, it will be a really tough task. And so that concludes my time. And this list. And as I sign off, have a great day. And always remember, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. And just like that, he's gone.